I don't watch TV, I don't look at tabloids. I hate tabloids. I think we should have a tabloid burning, just make mountains out of them, just burn it all. I think people should be more aware that it's completely not the truth. It's sensationalism, it's ignorance, it really is.
Hi, I'm Matt Lauer for HBO Entertainment News. It wasn't long ago when the music of the Beatles raised a few eyebrows for its controversial use in a sneaker advertisement. But it wasn't Paul, George, Ringo, or the late John Lennon's estate that made the deal. Believe it or not, it was Michael Jackson. At a recent stop on his first U.S. concert tour in 13 years, Paul McCartney explained that the long and winding road that brought the Beatles songs to Jackson's door started when he and John Lennon first teamed up in Liverpool.
What happened originally in Liverpool, John and I didn't know about song publishing. We literally thought that songs were in the air and that everyone owned them. That's literally how we met our first publisher. Hi there. He said, come in, sit down. Is that what you think? Sit over here. And that was the deal they did. And literally, to this day, I'm virtually on that deal. When we went to Rishikesh with the Maharishi, the man who owned them sold them while we were out of town. Dick James, his name was. When we got back to town, we said, Dick, you can't do that. He said, you want to bet? And he was quite right. He had 51% of the company.
The publishing rights to the Beatles' music changed hands several times as their value continued to escalate.
Then there was a chance where I could have bought it. I felt very embarrassed buying them myself because they're Lennon-McCartneys. I wouldn't have liked to just own them myself. I felt bad about that. So I rang Yoko and I said, look, we got a chance to buy these songs. The man's asking 20 million, 10 to you, 10 to me. Should we do it? You know, it looks like maybe we should do this. In fact, they didn't go for 20, they went for 50 in the end.
The high bidder for the music was Michael Jackson.
So you can't blame Michael because he had the money. Straight off the back of Thriller, he was like, cash rich, baby.
And I kind of thought he was joking. I used to work with him, and he'd say, I'm going to get your records, you know. I'm going to get your songs. I'm going to buy your songs. And I'd say, love it. You know, I thought it was a joke. Anyway, he ended up doing that.
And the other really smart business move that Michael Jackson made, I know you were heavily involved in this, was the decision to get his hands on the Beatles catalogue. Tell me about that process.
Well, Michael was good friends with Paul McCartney. And after Thriller, Michael had a lot of money, a lot of cash. So Michael asked me to call Paul McCartney and Yoko Ono, his good friends. He did not want to bid against them. And I spoke with Yoko, and I said, Yoko, are you bidding on this catalog? And she said, no, we'd be thrilled if Michael could get it rather than some big corporation. I spoke to Paul McCartney's lawyer, who said they were not bidding. So we went out. It took us a year to close that deal. It wasn't easy. There was a lot of competition. But Michael was passionate. He wanted to invest in things that he was passionate about. So we did buy the Beatles catalog. We later bought some Elvis Presley copyrights. And that publishing company now forms the cornerstone for his net worth.
What would you say, what interests you most about life?
What interests me most about life is learning. I think that's life, to want to grow and become more. And like you plant a seed and it grows into something beautiful. And it never dies, really. I think people should be that way.
You know what? My favorite song on the album is Man in the Mirror.
Oh, yeah, I like that a lot.
That's my favorite song. I tend to hold a feeling that no matter what you do in the world, it really has to start with you.
It's my philosophy, too. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change.
Is it hard to do?
Yeah, well, people don't look at themselves honestly. They don't look at themselves and point the finger at them. It's always the other guy's fault or somebody else. You should change yourself. Look at yourself. Make better of yourself, you know?
When you look in the mirror, are you happy with what you see?
In what way?
Just when you look there, in terms of that social philosophy.
I'm never totally satisfied. I always wish the world could be a better place. No, not at all. Hopefully, you know, that's what I do with my music, bring happiness to people and to bring joy, bring some peace in their lives.
Are you a prayerful person?
Pardon?
I said, are you a prayerful type person?
Oh, yeah, I pray a lot, yeah. I see a beautiful sunset and I say, God, that's beautiful, thank you. Or a baby's smile, or a butterfly's wings, or anything like that, you know. I feel thankful is how I feel. I really do. I don't take any of it for granted.
And the lyrics go, it goes, people really don't understand me.
Yeah, I say a lot of people misunderstand me. That's because they don't know me. I guess that's true. People believe a lot of crazy stories they read. And some is true, some is not. And
does it hurt when you see those crazy stories?
Sometimes, but it's part of the work, you know.
You ever want to lash out in any type of way and say, hey, that's not true?
Yeah, a lot of times.
Do we as human beings treat people as animals too many times?
I think so. Man's inhumanity to man, I mean, that's what war is all about.
Sure.
So many of the problems in the past.
Are you scared of war?
I don't think anybody likes war, in truth. No, I don't like war. I like peace. I'm a peaceful person.
Do you ever think about ever being an ambassador or anything like that? The fact that you're accepted around this whole world. You ever think about being some type of ambassador?
I feel I'm that already with my music and what I've done with music, because it breaks all barriers. I don't have to make a political statement. I do all of that with music. It breaks all language barriers and everything to all races of people. It goes all over the world. And it's fun to see kids from India or whatever country you name, you know, who know about the music.
In America, the courts serve as a vital and equal branch of our government, one that both provides and is subject to an intricate system of checks and balances. But outside the legal system, there is another court, one arguably just as powerful, the court of public opinion. We begin with the man who was the biggest star in the world, his own musical empire, crowned by himself, the king of pop. But in August of 1993, an accusation of child sex abuse would turn Michael Jackson's world upside down. After a decade that saw Michael Jackson forever etch his name among the great American icons, the early 90s brought a flurry of bizarre tabloid reports. Things turned serious thanks to an accusation made public in August of 1993.
The accusation stemmed from a police investigation into claims by a 13-year-old boy that he and Jackson had a sexual relationship.
Thank you.
A year earlier, in 1992, Michael Jackson had befriended the Chandler family. He grew especially close to Jordan Chandler, a 13-year-old boy. By the summer of 1993, Jordan's father, Evan, was in the middle of a custody battle over his son with his ex-wife. What followed were confrontations with Jackson, even financial demands, all of which failed. So in August 1993, Mr. Chandler took his son to see a psychiatrist, where the 13-year-old said he'd been molested by Jackson. Police opened an investigation the very next day.
Los Angeles police are still refusing to comment on their criminal investigation of pop star Michael Jackson.
The 13-year-old boy involved in the custody case is said to have been friends with Jackson, traveling to Monaco with the superstar. The boy reportedly told his therapist about the alleged abuse, and therapists are required by law to turn that kind of information over to police.
Jackson was in the middle of his Dangerous World tour and was quick to deny the allegations. Meanwhile, investigators served a search warrant on his Neverland ranch, which immediately sent the media and public into a frenzy.
Assuming these statements are accurate, you got a 13-year-old who's either been hurt or has got someone saying Tell people you got hurt. Either way, this child's in trouble.
Michael Jackson was also in trouble. His career, his reputation, both of which were wildly celebrated by 1993, were now at the mercy of an accusation, someone's word against his.
In the 4-minute statement, Jackson said allegations that he molested a boy are untrue. He blamed the mass media for promoting the allegations and urged the public to wait and hear the truth before passing judgment.
I am not guilty of these allegations, but if I am guilty of anything, it is of giving all that I have to give to help children all over the world. It is of loving children of all ages and races. It is of gaining sheer joy from seeing children with their innocent and smiling faces. It is of enjoying through them the childhood that I missed myself.
Jackson also thanked his fans for their tremendous support and said he'll see the matter through.
Superstar returned to the stage in Thailand after canceling 2 earlier shows, reportedly because of dehydration. The pop star is under a sex abuse investigation involving a 13-year-old boy. But locally, many fans are skeptical.
They're just trying to destroy his character, I think. Just make him look bad. They know he's popular, he got a lot of money. Ain't nothing but a big fad or something.
And today, Michael Jackson's attorney specifically accused the father of the boy in the case of trying to get Jackson involved in a business deal, and that if Jackson didn't go along, abuse allegations would be reported.
This attorney I found, I interviewed several, and I picked the nastiest son of a bitch I could find. Once I make that phone call, this guy is just going to destroy everybody in sight. Any devious, nasty, cruel way that he can do it. And I've given him full authority to do that. It'll be a massacre if I don't get what I want. If I don't get what I want. If I don't get what I want.
CBS News has obtained a taped phone conversation. The voices are purportedly the father of the 13-year-old boy who is accusing Michael Jackson of molesting him and the boy's stepfather. The conversation was taped in July before the police began their investigation.
This man is going to be humiliated beyond belief. He will not believe it. He will not believe what's going to happen. Beyond his worst nightmares. Sell one more record. If I go through with this, I will get big time. I will get everything I want. They will be destroyed forever.
From the beginning, Jackson's private investigator said the accusations were brought about by a failed extortion attempt and says the taped conversation reinforces that.
It spells out everything to me that this was an extortion attempt from the very beginning. That it was all planned.
As Michael Jackson tried to forget his troubles by hosting inner-city children at his ranch last weekend, his attorneys were busy trying to keep the singer out of court. Sources say Jackson and the teenage boy who accused him of sexual molestation are close to reaching a settlement. One source in the Jackson camp saying they want the case to go away because of the bad publicity. Estimates are Jackson will pay the boy anywhere from $5 to $20 million to make that happen.
Don't treat me like a criminal, because I am innocent.
If the settlement is finalized, Jackson will not admit any guilt, and it's unclear what effect it will have on the criminal investigation. The boy does not have the ability to stop criminal charges from being filed, but he can refuse to testify, and the DA would be helpless.
It's hush money. It's go-away money.
Attorney Joel Isaacson says that would end the case.
It causes tremendous problems. I don't even know if they would proceed just on what this child told his father or mother or psychologist at the time. It's pretty weak.
Right now, the boy's attorney, Larry Feldman, plus Jackson's 2 main lawyers are saying the same thing. No comment, but they are expected to make an announcement in court tomorrow. All along, Jackson has maintained the allegations were just an extortion attempt by the boy's father. But coincidentally, one day before a possible settlement, the DA's office announced there was no extortion. Jackson's people originally said the boy's father wanted $20 million not to file criminal charges. They called that extortion. The DA said it was just negotiations.
That it's not a crime for attorneys or people to try and settle a civil action. The law actually favors trying to settle actions without going to court.
And the final settlement may come tomorrow.
but it remains to be seen if that will put an end to the entire case. David Goldstein, Channel 9 News.
It's going to be news.
The attorney for the 14-year-old boy and for Michael Jackson arrived in court to say it's all over. After meeting with the judge behind closed doors, they announced a settlement of the civil case. The boy's lawyer saying his client wanted to get it over with.
He has gained peace. He gets to go on today, and hopefully everybody will leave him alone, and he will get to repair some very, very deep wounds.
The boy had accused Jackson of sexual molestation back in August. Sources say negotiations for a settlement began heating up just over a week ago, prompted by Jackson's scheduled deposition in the case, where he would have to testify under oath. No dollar figures have been disclosed, but the settlement is estimated to be in the range of $20 million. Jackson's attorneys also say the singer wanted to get it over with, and the payoff is not an admission of guilt.
He is an innocent man who does not intend to have his career and his life destroyed by rumors and innuendos.
There is, of course, one legal obstacle to getting on with their lives, and that's the criminal investigation. The DA did not participate in any of these settlement negotiations, and Feldman says there were no provisions made for his client not to testify against Jackson. However, Feldman doesn't sound like a man who wants to see this case go to trial.
We'll take it one day at a time. I want to sit down with the district attorney. You have to understand, has not been sharing information. I don't know where the district attorney is.
DA Gil Garcetti said the probe of Jackson is ongoing. It will not be affected by the settlement, he says, and he believes the boy will be allowed to testify. But after a multi-million-dollar settlement, there are no guarantees. Many attorneys, like Danny Davis, have questions.
Is this buying off criminal prosecution? And that's the risk in the criminal case, is that it's almost forcing their hand to prosecute, to make clear they are not being bought off.
But right now, there are no decisions on the criminal case, just Jackson's money putting an end to one potential problem and hoping the other will go away with it. David Goldstein, Channel 9 News. Sources say the 14-year-old boy seen on the right of the screen may not be pointing the finger at Michael Jackson after all, and the case may be falling apart. Channel 9 News has learned the boy may now be reluctant to testify against Jackson because he has lost faith in the prosecution. If that happens, there's a good possibility of no charges being filed. The boy's attorney, who negotiated a reported $15 million settlement from Jackson in a civil suit, has no comment. But Larry Feldman has said previously, the longer the case drags on, the less likely the boy will testify. Meanwhile, Michael Jackson's mother came to court in a stretch limo to testify before the grand jury. Katherine Jackson, in the blue dress, answered questions in front of the secret panel for a little over an hour. When she emerged, Mrs. Jackson wouldn't answer any questions, only saying she believes in Michael.
I'd just like to say before I went in, I was sure my son's innocent. And now that I've finished and completed my testimony, I still feel the same way.
All right, let me just tell you what we're going to do here. There is a joint announcement that we're going to make that I'm going to read. And I think Mr. Cochran wants to say something, or Mr. Weitzman, and then I will respond to your questions that you might have after they get done with whatever statement they want to make. We wish to jointly announce a mutual resolution of this lawsuit. As you are aware, the plaintiff has alleged certain acts of impropriety by Mr. Jackson, and from the inception of those allegations, Mr. Jackson has always maintained his innocence. However, the emotional trauma and strain on the respective parties have caused both parties to reflect on the wisdom of continuing with this litigation. The plaintiff has agreed the lawsuit should be resolved, and it will be dismissed in the near future. While Mr. Jackson continues to maintain his innocence, much of the suffering these parties have been put through was caused by the publicity surrounding this case. We jointly request that members of the press allow the parties to close this chapter in their lives with dignity so that the healing process may begin.
Now, we are going to make a statement, but I want to let you all know before, given what's gone on in other conferences like this, after the statement, we're going to answer no questions at all, and we'll be through. So with that introduction, Johnny Cochran's going to read our statements.
Thanks, Howard. In the past 10 days, the rumors and speculation surrounding this case have reached a fever pitch, and by and large have been false and outrageous. As Mr. Feldman has correctly indicated, Michael Jackson has maintained his innocence from the beginning of this matter, and now, as this matter will soon be concluded, he still maintains that innocence. The resolution of this case is in no way an admission of guilt by Michael Jackson. In short, he is an innocent man who does not intend to have his career and his life destroyed by rumors and innuendos. Throughout this ordeal, he has been subjected to an unprecedented media feeding frenzy, especially by the tabloid press. Tabloid press has shown an insatiable thirst for anything negative and have paid huge sums of money to people who have little or no information and who barely knew Michael Jackson. So today, the time has come for Michael Jackson to move on to new business, to get on with his life, to start the healing process, and to move his career forward to even greater heights. This he intends to do. At the appropriate time, Michael Jackson will speak out publicly as to the agony, torture, pain he has had to suffer during the past 6 months. Thank you very much.
The child abuse investigation lasted for more than a year, but he was never charged with any crime. He did settle the boy's lawsuit against him, saying he didn't want to drag it on and on. Pelicano ended up resigning from Michael's employ, but believed in his innocence. He said the singer is surrounded by an entourage who he believes doesn't have Michael's best interests in mind.
You have to understand that Michael is a money machine, and there's all kinds of people around him that are trying to advise him. You know, those people who call themselves friends, and those people who have their own agendas.
Families lied.
Do you wish that Michael had not paid?
I wish he had, and I told him.
As a mother, that makes you angry, doesn't it?
Yes, it does make me angry, because he looked guilty. If you think about it yourself, and Michael molested your son, would you ask for money? Would you? No, you wouldn't ask. If Michael molested your child, you wouldn't ask for money. But you would do, the first thing a man would do is beat the heck out of him and then call the cops.
You're after money, you've said it here, get out of my life. Now, if this really went on, do you think a father would accept money, that would make it okay, that would make everything all right? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I know that if that were my son, I'm sorry. I don't care if you gave me $1 billion. I want to see you either behind bars or dead for the rest of your life for doing that to my son or my daughter. It's crazy. The guy was after money is what he wanted.
That attorney Howard Weitzman's settlement in 1993 when Michael Jackson, and when Michael Jackson paid a reported $20 million to Chandler, it was, to me, the worst settlement in legal history. And
yes, I understand. It seems like it was a bad decision, and it in the court of the public, this is why people still think he was guilty. And I think we have to explain to people that that was not his idea. Yeah, what a lot of people don't realize about that settlement is that, from what I understand, Michael Jackson did not want to make that settlement, that somehow he was convinced to do it by the attorneys that you mentioned.
That's what he told me. And Randy Jackson, his brother, who I had lunch with in San Francisco a few months ago, told me that attorney Johnny Cochran wanted to try the case, but that Mr. Weitzman wanted to settle it. That's what he told me. Oh, Mr. Weitzman says that he was against the settlement. I don't believe that for a second. I've said that repeatedly. His signature is on the document. It's on the Internet. And if you look at David Geff's wonderful documentary, Michael Jackson, The Life of an Icon, you'll see Weitzman right at the press conference to announce the settlement. So I don't believe, and, you know, the information given to me was that he was the one that was the most, as far as the lawyers went, he was really pushing for that settlement. If you read Randall Sullivan's book, Untouchable, he says words to that effect as well. So I just think it was the worst settlement ever.
Dianne Sawyer.
And with me, of course, Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley. Welcome to Primetime. Glad you're here. I want to ask a few things about the charges, but first I want to establish for the viewers here, there are no ground rules. You have said to me you are not afraid of any questions. So I wanted that understood by everybody before we proceed. I think I want to begin by making sure that the terms are clear. You have said that you would never harm a child. I want to be specific as I can. Did you ever, as this young boy said you did you ever sexually engage, fondle, have sexual contact with this child or any other child?
Never, ever. I could never harm a child or anyone. It's not in my heart. It's not who I am. And it's not what I'm not even interested in that.
And what do you think should be done to someone who does that?
To someone who does that, what I think it should be done, gee, I think they need help in some kind of way, you know?
How about the police photographs, though? How was there enough information from this boy about those kinds of things?
The police photographs that they took of me.
Yes.
There was nothing that matched me to those charges.
There was nothing. There was nothing that concurred.
That's why I'm sitting here talking to you
nothing.
today. There was not one iota of information that was found that could connect me.
So when we've heard
to
that
these
there was
charges,
a marking
nothing.
of some kind.
No markings.
No markings.
No. The
Why
whole
did
thing
you
is a
settle
lie.
the case then? Why did you settle the case? And it looks to everyone as if you paid a huge amount of money.
Most of that's
to get
folklore.
silence.
I talked to my lawyers and I said, can you guarantee me that justice will prevail? And they said, Michael, we cannot guarantee you that a judge or a jury will do anything. And with that, I was like catatonic. I was outraged.
How much money
Totally
was it?
outraged. The idea is just isn't fair, what they put me through, because there wasn't one piece of information that says I did that. And anyway, they turned my room upside down, went through all my books, all my videotapes, all my private things, and they found nothing that can say Michael Jackson did this. Nothing.
But let me ask you
to
a
this
couple
day,
of questions.
nothing. Still nothing.
Let me ask you a couple.
Nothing.
Nothing. I got nothing. I can hear out in the country people saying, and you've been cleared of all the charges, we want to make that clear. People saying, look, here is a man who is surrounded by things that children love. Here is a man who spent an inordinate amount of time with these young boys.
That's right.
What is a 36-year-old man doing sleeping with a 12-year-old boy, or a series of them?
Right. Okay, when you say boys, it's not just boys, and I've never invited just boys to come in my room. Come on, that's ridiculous. And that's a ridiculous question. But since people want to hear it, you know, the answer, I'll be happy to answer it. I have never invited anyone into my bed, ever. Children love me, I love them. They follow me, they want to be with me.
I just wonder, is it over? You're going to make sure it doesn't happen again. I think this is really the key thing people want to know, that there are not going to be more of these sleepovers in which people have to wonder.
Nobody wonders when kids sleep over at my house.
But
Nobody
are they
wonders.
over? Are you going to watch out for it now?
Watch out for
just
what?
for the sake of the children and for
No,
everything
because
you've been through?
it's all moral and it's all pure. I don't even think that way. It's not what's in my heart.
So you'll
I would
do it
never,
again?
ever. Do what again?
I mean, you'll have a child
Of
sleeping
course.
over.
If they want.
Yes.
It's on the level of purity and love and just innocence, complete innocence. If you're talking about sex, and that's a nut. That's not me. Go to the guy down the street, because it's not Michael Jackson. It's not what I'm interested in.
Live from the Sony Pictures Studios in Los Angeles. Once again, Dianne Sawyer.
As we said, Elizabeth Taylor is going to talk a little bit about when she came to see you in the middle of this, what she called agony. One of the things I think she was so angry about with us was that she said people always talk about one side of a person, they never give them credit for their accomplishments,
That's right.
Particularly what they give to children and the money.
He goes to hospitals without the press following him, without anyone knowing. He'll get up in a disguise and do it, take his disguise off when he's there, and kids know, wow, it's Michael Jackson.
Was there no point at which you said to yourself, reading everything everybody had been reading, maybe this is true, maybe I completely didn't understand who he was?
No way. Absolutely not.
Never?
Never. I know Michael's heart. I know his mind and his soul. I'm not that insensitive, especially to him or people I love.
How did you decide to go to Singapore?
He was my friend. He was alone. He was totally alone. And he just, he needed help. Nothing in the world could have hurt him more. If it had been calculated, if they'd planned an assassination, they couldn't have done it any better. It almost broke his heart.
She says she recognized a friend turning to painkillers for escape.
He wasn't aware of what was happening. He was dulling his pain. But it really frightened me because I have been there. And I know how easy it is to get there when you're in mental or physical pain.
And he knew right away that he had to deal with it too?
Not right away. Not right away, but he knew.
There were some reports during this period, Michael, that it was such agony for you that you were actually suicidal. Is that true?
I was never suicidal. I love life too much to ever be suicidal. I'm resilient. I have rhinoceros skin. Never, ever suicidal.
Did it leave you, though,
heartbroken, but not suicidal?
He knew that a lot of the people believed the allegations and believed all the stuff they was hearing that the media was putting out there. Mm-hmm. And he used to come to me sometimes and tell me, he said, Mother, just think of what I love most in this world are children, and they, and I'd rather slit my own wrist before I hurt a child, and this is what they're trying to pin on me. And I just want them to know that Michael wasn't like that. And the first child that they tried to accuse Michael, he had come forward and said Michael didn't touch him. And he had said that before, but he was afraid because he was afraid of his father. Mm-hmm. But the father has committed suicide since he came out and told it. So maybe his conscience was bothering him. The reason he did it, I don't know.
There's been another issue raised. In a song you say, "Jew me, sue me," and some people are saying that that is anti-Semitic.
It's not anti-Semitic because I'm not a racist person. I could never be a racist. I love all races of people, from Arabs to Jewish people, like I said before, to blacks. But when I say Jew me, sue me, everybody do me, kick me, kike me, don't you black or white me, I'm talking about myself as the victim.
The king of pop caught in controversy again. He said he'd lose the lyrics that outraged critics. Now he's singing them again for his new video, and E.T. has the tape. Jackson promised several months ago to revise the lyrics to his song, "They Don't Care About Us," lyrics many called anti-Semitic. Jackson's in Brazil now, shooting the video for the song, and Entertainment Tonight has learned he is still using the controversial lyrics.
He was in Brazil to shoot the music video for his song, "They Don't Care About Us." Last year, he angered Jewish groups when he sang these words.
Do me, sue me, everybody do me, kick me, kite me, don't you black or white me.
Michael then gave in to pressure and changed the song. But in Brazil, the controversial lyrics were back, and he sang it this way. We showed footage of the video shoot to Rabbi Marvin Heyer, an activist for Jewish causes, who was outraged because last June, Jackson sent him a letter of apology for singing those lyrics.
I'm shocked. Jew me, sue me, kick me, kike me.
Those are the words that he told us that he would never use again. Now, I have a CD that he sent me with the words eliminated. Why couldn't he do the same thing in Brazil?
Last year, Michael said the intention of the song was to say no to racism, anti-Semitism, and stereotyping, but he did change the lyrics. Prior to shooting, we asked director Spike Lee which version he would sing.
You have to ask Michael. I don't know. I just worked for him.
But by singing words that angered so many people, Michael is sure to enter another firestorm. His spokesman, Bob Jones, says it's his superstardom that makes him a target.
The bigger he has gotten, the bigger the shots. And of course, as I said, when Christ did things to free the oppressed people, and they tried to destroy him also.
We bought the catalog in 1985. We spent $47.5 million, which is well known. We sold off a background music library, so his net investment was about $41 million. And while I can't give out confidential details, it's been reported that Sony ATV is worth upwards of $2 billion, and Michael owns half.
Wow. So he took it from 40-odd million to $1 billion.
Yes, and I would say in addition to Sony ATV, Michael has his own publishing company, which is called MyJack, which owns all of his own songs as well as many other songs we bought over the years. So when you add the two companies together, it's even more.
And I just need you to know that this is very important, what we're fighting for. Because I'm tired, I'm really, really tired of the manipulation. I'm tired of how the press is manipulating everything that's been happening in this situation. They do not tell the truth, they're liars. And they manipulate our history books. The history books are not true. It's a lie. That's right, Michael. The history books are lying. You need to know that. You must know that. I'm here to speak for all injustice. You got to remember something. The minute I started breaking the all-time record in record sales, I broke Elvis's records, I broke Beatles' records. The minute it became the all-time best-selling albums in history in the Guinness Book of World Records, overnight they called me a freak, they called me a homosexual, they called me a child molester. They said I tried to bleach my skin. They made everything to turn the public against me. This was all complete conspiracy. You have to know that. You know, it's time, I love you more. It's time for a change. And let's not leave this building and forget what has been said. Put it into your heart, put it into your subconscious mind, and let's do something about it. We have to. We have to. Because it's been a long, long time coming. And a change has got to come.
You know, let me just say this. The tradition of great performers from, and I really want you to hear what I have to say. The tradition of great performers from Sammy Davis Jr. to James Brown to Jackie Wilson to Fred Astaire, Gene Kelly. The story is usually the same though, you know. These guys work really hard at their craft, but the story ends the same. They usually are broken, torn, and usually just sad. And the story is very sad in the end. Because the companies take advantage of them. They really do. And Sony, being the artist that I am at Sony, I've generated several $1 billion for Sony, several billion, and they really thought that my mind is always on music and dancing, and it usually is, but they never thought that this performer myself would outthink them. Yeah. We can't let them get away with what they're trying to do because now I'm a free agent. I just owe Sony one more album. It's just a box set, really. It's with 2 new songs, which I've written ages ago. Because every album that I record, I write like. Literally, I'm telling you the truth, I write at least 120 songs every album I do. So I can do the box set and just give them any 2 songs. So I'm leaving Sony a free agent. Owning half of Sony. So I own half of Sony's publishing, and I'm leaving them, and they're very angry at me because of it. But I just did good business, you know.
Say it, Michael. Tell the story.
But, so, the way they get revenge is to try and destroy my album. But I've always said, you know, good art never dies. Thank you. I love Unbreakable. You know. And Tommy Mottola is a devil.
It was ironic, the night that Michael performed for the Democratic Party, I come by to see Michael's performance. I was leaving, and it was then that one of his bodyguards said, Michael wants to see you. And I said, all right, well, tell him I got a speaking engagement. I can't stay for the rest of the show. He said, meet us at the Palace Hotel, and he gave us the room number. And I went to see him that night at 11 o'clock, and that's when he started telling me that he felt they were trying to take his catalog, and he needed my help and all of that. And I told him, I said, well, it's funny you said that, because in 3 weeks, we're having a seminar on are they treating blacks fair in the music business. Johnny Cochran, who's your lawyer, and I, at the House of Justice, my headquarters. He says, I'll be there, get there. I said, okay, and after Michael will be there. And it was going to be that Monday, 3 weeks. That Friday, before that Monday, I answered my phone. I said, hello, and it was Michael. Michael said, Sharpton. That's how he used to talk. Sharpton. I said, hey, Michael, how you doing? He says, where's the seminar? I said, I told you, it's at the House of Justice, all that on Monday. He says, Monday, I'm here. I said, you're here? He says, yeah. And he was staying here in Manhattan. So I said, well, if you're here, I know you get up in the afternoon, but we have a rally every Saturday morning, and da-da-da. You should come by and do the broadcast. I'm coming. I said, yeah, right. Now, because Michael, like most entertainers, get up about noon. 9:30 next morning, big limousine pulled up, and he was there. And that was the day he took the picture. He did the rally and stayed over and went and came to the seminar that Monday.
Can you give us
Tommy Mottola made some very racist remarks. Okay? What you told him already? You want to say it? Well, what he said was to one of the artists who work at Sony, he called him a fat black nigger. And I can't deal with that, you know, it's wrong.
Right after his speech, I spoke briefly to the King of Pop for a rare, exclusive television interview. Michael, why was it important for you to be here, and what do you think of the support of Reverend Al Sharpton?
I think it's important to be here. I'm not just fighting for myself, I'm fighting for all artists. Those great artists who pioneered, you know, entertainment business, as well as songwriting, as well as incredible staging. You know, the fact that they have been taken by the system, totally broken them financially. You know, and this has to stop. It's conspiracy.
You said out there that you felt that Sony was racist.
I didn't say Sony was racist. I said Tommy Mottola is racist.
Who's the head of Sony?
Yeah, Tommy Mottola.
Do you feel the recording industry as a whole has been, you use the word sort of conspiracy against black artists? Why do you think this has happened?
Why do I think this is? Because money is the root of all evil.
You also said out there that you believe that some of the recording companies take black artists' money. We brought up James Brown and some of these others. At the end of their careers are broke and penniless. Yeah. What is your financial situation?
I'm in an incredible financial situation. I just wrote somebody a check for $500 million. But when good news doesn't sell, if there's something negative and that's a rumor, that's when it's blasted. I don't expect the press to say anything good, you know.